Okay, so we need IPv6. And we briefly mentioned all the different things what IPv6 can do for us. But the benefits of IPv6, besides this huge number you see in front of you, that 340 undecillion, there's no more broadcast. And what do I mean by that there's no more broadcast? Now, with the new version of ICMP, is something called neighbor discovery. So there is no more ARP, address resolution protocol. ICMP actually has that already built in where it goes and looks for the neighbors already. So there is neighbor discovery is already built in, and you have router advertisements, all these different things to avoid broadcast. So yes, broadcast is a major thing that we've always had to deal with in IPv4. Well, no longer in IPv6. The Anycast address, this is a new type of address that exists in IPv6. And what it is, I mean, they call it one to nearest. And I'm going to use an analogy so you can understand what this address does. So you're sitting at your home and you want to go to the supermarket. There's different Publix supermarkets in your area. Well, which one are you going to go to? Well, obviously, you're going to go to the one nearest to you, so you don't have to travel further. And this is something this address does. If there's a particular service that exists, whether it could be within another router or it could be within servers in a server farm, this particular address, once configured on all these devices, because it's the same address that gets configured, you're going to go ahead and go to the nearest address to you. But in the case of the address is based on the routing protocol, who's near to you. Because remember, RIP is based on hop counts. So if the address is 3 hops away versus 5 hops away, it's going to choose the 3 hops away. If it's OSPF, it's going to be more of a mathematical calculation based on cost, which is the lowest cost. So the device that has the lowest cost, that's going to be the one nearest to you. So this is what this address does when it's looking for a particular service. That is awesome. Very good feature. One of the last things is the auto configuration feature. You can have your router, your end devices actually configure an IP address themselves using the EUI64, which we will be doing. So you don't really have to put in the whole IPv6 address, which is 128 bits, by the way. You can go ahead and put in the network portion of the address and then just put in the EUI64, and it'll know how to assign the interface ID, or the host portion, if you will, of that particular address. The way that it does that basically is something called padding. It will look for the MAC address on that particular interface or NIC card, and then put a triple FE, FFFE, smack in the middle of that MAC address to make it a 64-bit address. And we'll get into the actual format of an IPv6 address shortly here, but that's what EUI64. It gives us the capability of not even have to assign an actual host portion, even though that doesn't exist anymore, but the interface ID portion of it could get assigned automatically using this particular feature. So most definitely, there's a lot of benefits to use IPv6. This is just the tip of the iceberg that we're talking about here, something you need, obviously, for your certification. But one more thing that I'm going to mention that's not on here is that now on each interface of a router or NIC card, you can put multiple IP addresses, because you have unicast addresses, you have multicast addresses, you have anycast addresses, you have link local addresses, and we'll discuss these in a little bit here. But all these addresses can actually sit on one interface. So IPv6 has opened the door to a lot of brand new features that all they're there to do is to benefit, to make our network more efficient.